We are observing the 16th anniversary of this unique protest that the mothers have done in front of Kangla, which was then the headquarters of the Assam Rifles in Manipur. They did this unique protest because they were very moved and angry about the way in which Madam Thangjam Manorama was picked up from her house in the middle of the night, tortured, and next morning her dead body was found in the roadside. And when her post-mortem was conducted, it was found that and there were telltale signs of rape. This was beyond the bearable limits of the mothers of Manipur. We don't do this even to animals, but the way in which the Indian army was treating the Manipuri women was something that really made these mothers extremely angry, and they have taken this ultimate step for a very conservative society like Manipur, for the elderly mothers to disrobe themselves in public was something very unique and very dear step, and to do it right in front of the Assam Rifles headquarters and challenge them, defy them, that if you, instead of raping our daughters in the middle of the night, if you have the guts, come and rape us here. We are making ourselves available. So that was the ultimate message that the Maira Paibis, the mothers of Manipur, have conveyed, and I think that shook the world and brought to light what has been covered repressive regime of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act to the world's eye. And that moment needs to be honored, respected, and it is to ensure that this spirit of the mother to defy injustice needs to be nurtured so that this spirit lives for the present generations and for the generations to come. And it is with this reason that we have observed this in a very humble way at Human Rights Alert. Because of the COVID lockdown and all the restrictions, we are not able to perform at a very large scale as it is usually done in other days. But thanks to technology, we are live streaming this in YouTube, and hopefully there will be a lot more people viewing this in their own private spaces. Historically, we have moments where mothers have come out, the Manipuri women have come out. Fortunately, in Manipur, we have the collective power of women is something that has always been soul of Manipur. When the British hanged Tikendrajit and Thangal General, mothers went and protest, which of course the British civil servant couldn't understand what was happening, so they portrayed it in very wrong light. But the Manipuri women also felt that the British were very uncultured because they didn't respect the age-old custom of giving pardon to people who are given death sentence even by the king, and they didn't honor that gesture of the mothers. In 1904, when again the British colonial rule tried to bring about forced labor, the mothers again protested, and that has come to be known as the first Nupilal, or the first women's war in Manipur history. In the late 1930s, again there was an artificial hoarding of rice because of the upcoming Second World War, and there was an artificial famine in Manipur. And that time also it was the market women who came and gherowed and forced the administration to reopen, stop this export of rice and hoarding of rice by certain unscrupulous merchants. Similarly, when the Armed Forces Special Powers Act came in full blow in 1980s, the mothers, at that time there was an active group called the Nisaban, which was Stop Intoxicant Movement. Slowly the Stop Intoxicant Movement transformed into what we call now the Maira Paibi movement, and many of the mothers who are there today we are celebrating were at their very young age, and they were one of the pioneers who have done it. So in 2004 it culminated into this dramatic protest against the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Many of the mothers are quite old. In fact, out of the 12, 2 have already died, and some of them are very old. But I think even as they wither away, that spirit needs to live on, and it is to recognize, respect, and honor, and actually nurture that spirit that we are observing this day. I think the spirit is still very much there. We are seeing in the way how a lone police woman is trying to fight the entire syndicate of drug peddlers, which perhaps include the Honorable Chief Minister himself, as per the affidavit. So it is a daunting task, which is not easy, but nevertheless we are glad that this spirit of defiance, this spirit of fighting injustice still runs strong in Manipur women, and we need to ensure that this spirit doesn't die, and this needs to be honored and nurtured. Well, fortunately the Kangla fort is liberated by the mothers from the Assam Rifles, but there is still IRB battalion still there. But they are now opening up for reasons. Some people has to be kept, but the very fact that we now can go and enjoy the sacred place of Kangla is thanks to this mother, even though the government tries to take different credits. The Chief Minister tried to take credit at that time also for liberating Kangla, but we all know, I mean, it did not be said that it was this mother who are the real heroes in the eyes of the people. At the moment, there is also a struggle for justice for all these people who were killed under the SEDO of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. We know how Armed Forces Special Powers Act is being challenged by the Extrajudicial Execution Victim Families Association in the Supreme Court. But unfortunately, the armed forces are very strongly entrenched. So only police are being indicted, and the military is not indicted yet. But I think this struggle has to go on. I think it is important that our resistance, our voice against this hegemonic and extremely draconian law needs to continue. We have to keep the amber alive. Compared to 2009, when we started forming the Extrajudicial Execution Victim Families Association, where we recorded about 500 fake encounter that year. Now in the last 4-5 years, we can say it's almost zero. I mean, we have not heard about fake encounters. There are other forms of repression, torture, arbitrary arrests, high-handedness, but this phenomena of picking someone, taking them to some place, bumping them off and writing off saying that there was an encounter, that phenomena had stopped in Manipur, at least for now. I think the women are quite smart. Even though the Khoiramal Kaithel is closed, there are many other Kaithels which are coming out all over the locality. But honestly, I think it is completely unnecessary. I think it is over reaction to completely close down the market. I think there should be proper regulation, because at the end of the day, we don't know when COVID is going to be completely gone. Even in most developed countries, most advanced countries, we have to live with COVID. So it is much more important to regulate the behavior of the imam market as well as the customers who are going there, rather than to completely close them down. I think, our suggestions to the government would be, it's better to regulate rather than to completely close, because it is not affecting the ruling class. That's why they are so blatant in their approach. If it was affecting the ruling class, then they would have been much more nuanced in their response. So I think there is a need to open imam market, but with proper regulations that is due to ensure that the virus doesn't spread.